I mean, where do you begin with this story, right? It's become so part of our modern day culture that I guess I don't always stop to really think about what it must have been like. David versus Goliath. We think about it in terms of sports a lot. At least I have a lot in my life. You know, how many times have I heard or said myself, matchup of David versus Goliath, in this game or that game. But if you really stop to kind of think about David versus Goliath and that story and what it must have been like, wow. And so this Amazon Prime series, The House of David, it's pretty cool. Now, you have to take it with a grain of salt because not all of it is biblical. But it kind of helps put you into that time and place. And you just think about the faith that David had. You know? He had no business being in that fight. He had no business being on that battlefield. Right? But there he was. And, you know, it's not because of him. It's because of this little thing that's inside of him. And believers will know what I'm talking about. It's this thing called the Holy Spirit, right? Like, he was so confident, right? But on the outside looking in, you'd think that he was confident maybe in himself, right? It's not it. He was confident because he had the Holy Spirit with him, right? And so he just knew. You know, believers will know what I'm talking about. When you know, right? And so he had that Holy Spirit guiding him so that when people laughed at him and, you know, mocked him when he first even wanted to go to war, he didn't ever stop believing. And again, it would look like he was believing in himself, but really he was just believing in the Holy Spirit, which was in his self, you know? And so he knew. You know, what a story that we can all just kind of sit back and be inspired by, right? Because, I mean, how many people out there have ever felt like they're David facing Goliath like every single day, you know, with a number of different things that just keep coming at you and like punch you in the face, you know? I mean, raise your hand if you've been there before, you know, or if you are there now, right? But, you know, stories like that when you know that they're real and they really happened, and you know it's in the Bible, just take comfort from that, you know, and just give you that confidence, you know. Again, confidence that if it's the Holy Spirit leading you in whatever it is that you're doing with your life, in the big picture, in the day-to-day picture, but if you have the Holy Spirit leading you in your life, you can't like think about timelines and you know, this plan's got to be the plan, you know, because sometimes the Holy Spirit's gonna modify your plan, you know. And I'm talking to myself, so that's okay, right? And that's a good thing. But when you have that Holy Spirit, you also have that peace that kind of lets you know that it's gonna be okay, you know. That plan A, B, C, D, and E might not work out. But maybe you needed those plans to get you to plan F, you know, that, you know, and everybody's timelines are different. You know, it's God's time, not our time. So, anyway, yeah, the house of David. And again, disclaimer, it is not to the gospel. It is not 100% biblically accurate. So, maybe not a bad idea to fact check any questions that you might have with it. But I feel like it has to have captured at least part of the emotion and the faith that David had. Because he had, inside of him, deep in his heart, he had that Holy Spirit, man. And that was the difference.